They say your home is your safe haven, but what happens when the very people who claim to protect your neighborhood decide to strip it away? One morning, I woke up to find that my property wasn't mine anymore. Without warning, fences had been moved, signs hammered into the ground, and a smug HOA board insisting I no longer had a say. They thought I would roll over, but they had no idea what I was about to do next. So tell me, what would you do if your land was stolen overnight? When I first moved into this neighborhood, I believed I had finally found the kind of peace most people only dream about. My land stretched wide and open, a rare slice of freedom in a world where space was constantly shrinking. I had a modest home. Then came the first letter. It wasn't addressed to me by name, but stamped with the HOA's seal. Inside, a vague note about community alignment and shared development goals. I remember standing there with the paper in my hands, wondering why a group I didn't belong to was suddenly writing to me. I crumpled it up and tossed it aside, but that was only the beginning. It started with whispers from neighbors, small comments about expansion, about how the HOA was taking steps to make the neighborhood better. People spoke with a kind of rehearsed optimism, like they'd been told exactly what to say. The first real sign that things were about to spiral came quietly. One morning, as I walked to the end of my driveway, I noticed a new sign planted in the grass near the road. Bright white letters, freshly painted, future site of Willow Creek Estates, Phase 2. My chest tightened. That was my land, my soil, my space. At first, I thought it was some kind of mistake. A simple error, maybe a misplaced sign that belonged to a neighboring property. But when I called the number listed at the bottom, the voice on the other end didn't sound apologetic. It sounded smug. "Oh, yes, that's correct," the man said. "That land is part of the expansion. It's been approved by the..." Then the letters started. This time, they weren't vague. They were targeted, sharp, meant to intimidate, violate. To comply with community development efforts may result in legal escalation. Your property must remain accessible for authorized construction personnel. Refusal to cooperate could lead to penalties and removal. Removal from land I legally owned. And when I refused to bow down, they moved to the next tactic, harassment. Fines began appearing in my mailbox, each one more absurd than the last. Improper landscaping, unauthorized structures, obstruction of community progress. Each fine stacked higher, hundreds of dollars at a time. I ignored them. What else could I do? I didn't belong to their HOA. I wasn't paying into their little kingdom. But they didn't care. Neighbors who once waved at me now looked the other way. Some even. One afternoon, I returned home to find bulldozers parked across my driveway, blocking the entrance. Workers in hard hats stood around laughing, telling me I'd have to wait until they were done to access my own house. When I called the sheriff, the deputy shrugged and said it was a civil matter. No one would help. That was when the anger really began to take root. The HOA wasn't just pushing me. They were daring me to break. Every letter, every fine, every confrontation, it was designed to crush me under the weight of their system until I gave up. But I didn't. Instead, I began documenting everything. Every letter, every survey stake, every truck that trespassed on my land.